a wild day in the NBA. The Knicks just traded for Emmanuel Mudiay. Let's get this popping. Knicks fans, what's popping? What's going on, people? Shamit, you only, I don't know, I'll get back to your name, bro. Tony Crow, Lily Phillips, what's popping, y'all? Big day in the NBA. Crazy day in the NBA. A lot of stuff went down today, and we witnessed it. It was crazy. Get the calls going. Oh, dang. I mean, can I get a word in first? Let me get a word in. We'll get the calls going. Well, geez. I know we're excited, though. We're excited. A lot of stuff going. People got some things to say. Want to get some stuff off the chest, I'm sure. You know, but there you have it. Excuse me. The Knicks acquired Emmanuel Mudiay in a 3-team deal. You guys already know what it is. Mudiay for Doug McDermott. And it's 2018 second round draft pick to Denver. Let me see. The New York Knicks announced today that the team has acquired guard Emmanuel Mudiay in a 3-team deal with Denver and Dallas. In the deal, New York sends forward Doug McDermott to Dallas and its 2018 second round draft pick to Denver, subject to Philadelphia's right to swap that pick with the Los Angeles Clippers' second round pick. Dallas also sends guard Devin Harris to Denver, with Denver sending a 2018 second round pick to Dallas. Scott Perry says, "We welcome Emmanuel Mudiay to New York and are excited to add this talented player to our roster. He's a young, athletic guard who we feel will be a valuable addition to the Knicks moving forward." Mudiay, 6'5", 200 pounds. Career averages of 11 points, 4.3 assists, 3.1 rebounds over 25.6 minutes per game. 165 games. He's 21 years old. 21 years old. So he's still young. Added to some youth. But I want to know what you guys think about the trade. I am me. You know, well, I'll be honest. Back in 2014, 15, whatever it was, when we drafted KP, I liked Mudiay. You know, I thought Mudiay had a chance to be a decent guard in the NBA, and I still think he has a chance to be a decent guard. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. He can get to the basket. He couldn't shoot when he came into the NBA, but it seems like at least his three-point shooting has gotten better. I like Mudiay. I like Mudiay. You know what I'm saying? I like Mudiay. And the salary cap implications are decent as well. You know, not that it brings us a ton of money, but it doesn't hold us to a qualifying offer to Doug McDermott this summer. You know, so I'm excited about the possibilities of Mudiay. You know, I think that him and Frank in the backcourt, it could be nice sometime in the future. You know what I'm saying? I think it could be nice sometime in the future. Mudiay, I like the idea. I know a lot of people harp on who's a shooting guard, who's a point guard, and those type of things. I don't as much, not in today's NBA. I like to have versatile guards that can go back and forth between being a point guard and a shooting guard. And I think when you have Mudiay and if you have Frank on the floor, I think that's what you're getting. If you have both of them on the floor, kind of the same thing you get when you have Burke and Ntilikina on the floor, except Mudiay is much bigger than Burke. You know. But the ability to have two playmakers on the floor, I think is a positive. If they understand and know how to go seamlessly between the 1 and the 2 while they're playing. So we'll have to see how it works out. We'll definitely we'll see how it goes. I think that maybe my biggest concern right now is can Jeff Hornacek put it together? Maybe this is more the kind of guys that Jeff Hornacek wanted to have. Guys that can get up and down the floor. I think Mudiay has the ability to push the pace. That's a positive. Do I think Mudiay can play some small forward? I'm not sure. Famous. He's 6'5". I guess it depends on who we're playing. If we're playing a team that's kind of small, then maybe so. But if we're playing a team that has, a 6'8", 6'9", small forward, then probably not. Because he'll be undersized, of course. But he is athletic. I'll give you that. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens with it. Shout out to Free Dawkins on the highlights. He always has highlights. So shout out to Free Dawkins on the highlights, using his highlights today. But I think the bigger picture is, like we were saying, what is Jeff Hornacek going to do? How is he going to handle this 4-point guard rotation? Obviously, as we see it, Jarrett Jack should take a seat, right? Jarrett Jack should take a seat. Not get as much burn, if any at all. We're 10 games below 500. Not much is going to be going on with us, right? Our season is just about working with these young guys. So obviously, Jarrett Jack needs to take a seat. My question is, I'll get to that question. Back to Mudiay. What do you guys think about Mudiay? Do you think that he can pair with Ntilikina in the backcourt? I mean, he's 21 years old. He's got a lot of time to develop. Just like we say about Frank, Denver, maybe they gave up too early on him, although they have a point guard. They have a good point guard. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they didn't just give up on him because they have a good point guard that kind of took Mudiay's spot. So, that's that. So I'm not going to say maybe they gave up too early because they have somebody that can play there. But he's only 21 years old. 21. He has a lot of time to develop. And we see over 2 off seasons, he couldn't shoot threes when he came in the league. Now he's shooting them at 37%. That's not bad. He still only shoots 40% from the field. I think he can pull that up. Maybe he needs a little bit more concentration when he gets to the basket, pull up jump shots, those type of things. But he can penetrate. He can get to the basket. He's strong and he's powerful. I like that in a point guard. Emmanuel C., you say Mudiay and Frank can't play together, not enough scoring. Maybe it's not enough scoring right now. But who's to say that they can't develop? I mean, you talk about a guy who's 19 and Frank. Mudiay is 21. He's been in the league a little bit longer. You would have hoped that offensively he might have developed a little bit more. But what about their playmaking? Because maybe they don't put up as many buckets together on the floor, but defensively, I think they'll help us defensively, working together, playing together. It'll work defensively, and because they're both playmakers, they may be able to help create plays for other people. And one of them may step up. You know, we have to see how it works and how it looks, because a lot has to do with the way pieces mix on the floor as far as people scoring sometimes. So, but I get what you're saying, though, Emmanuel. I know what you're saying. Neither one of them are really scoring guards. But, you know, when you get on the floor with different people, sometimes one person just steps up and says, okay, you know, I got to take the load. You know, I got to take the load. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I think they can play together because each of them can create. And, you know, with them being creators, I think they'll be able to create for each other. They'll be able to create for other people. You know, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. What's this mean? We might as well move on right to it. We have a point guard mess now. We went from having a glut at center to now having a glut at point guard. So what's this mean? Now, from listening to Mike Breen and Walt Frazier, the Knicks believe that Ntilikina, Mudiay, and Trey Burke can play together on the floor. And maybe they can. If you're playing against a small team, you know, maybe they can play together. I'd like to see how that looks. You know, that's 3 playmakers on the floor. Of course, Trey Burke is a little bit more of a scorer, has a scorer's mentality. You know, so he'd be one of the guys definitely looking to just go out and score. I want to see how that looks. I'm hoping that on Sunday, I believe that's when we play next, on Sunday, we'll get a chance to see the 3 of them together. I don't know. Who's that? I'm just going to call you Red. You said, I'm not sold on Mudiay at all. Why not? I mean, he's 21 years old. You know, I don't know if you have to be sold on him right now. He's 21. This is what we said we wanted the Knicks to do. We wanted the Knicks to collect young assets, young players, right? So from this point on, the Knicks should be, well, I mean, they can't make any trades any longer until the draft. But the Knicks should be looking to collect young players. They'll probably try to do that at the draft. Mudiay's 21 years old. Athletic players. He's athletic. Guys that can get up and down the floor. He can get up and down the floor. You know what I'm saying? Guys that play hard. He plays hard. Got flaws. Yeah, he's got flaws. I'll admit it. I know it. He's got flaws. But this is what we want to do. Because if he doesn't work, you can move on. Maybe you can get a second round pick for him if it doesn't work. Or maybe you get something more. Maybe you can package him in another trade. But this is tryout time. Right? This is tryout time for the Knicks. And you know, so I think this is exactly what we wanted the Knicks to do. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly what we wanted the Knicks to do. Collect young guys. Like we said, Mudiay's 21. Doug McDermott was like 25. A little bit younger than Doug McDermott. I think he has a higher upside than Doug McDermott. And what we've seen tonight, Luke Kornet can do a lot of the same things, at least from 3. The same things from 3 that Doug McDermott was doing. Matter of fact, when we traded Doug, he wasn't hitting. I mean, Dougie Fresh, my boy, I liked him, but he wasn't hitting when we traded him. He was off on every shot. Tamika Pearson, you say good trade. I think it was a good trade. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a good trade, and we'll we'll see a little bit more how it works out. You know, I like Mudiay. I liked him coming out of the draft, and I like him now. Even though he's maybe been underwhelming, I still believe in his talent. I just think he needs a little bit of guidance in his career. Not that he gets in trouble or anything like that. I just mean guidance as a player. Just think he needs some guidance and some coaching and some development. So then there poses the question, do we have a team to develop him? Marvin A says, Mudiay a good defender. I think he's a decent defender. Coming into the league, he was supposed to be a pretty good defender, a decent defender. I'm not going to say he's a great defender, but a decent defender. You know, he's got the athleticism and the size to be a good defender, you know. But we have a mess at point guard now. And Jeff Hornacek has to figure out where guys move to, who's going to play, who's going to ride the bench. He's got to figure it out. My question to you is, do you waive Jarrett Jack to make sure that there's room for these 3 young guys to play? Do you waive him, or do you just not play him? And that is a tough question. You know, that's a tough decision for management. I think it's a really tough decision for management because you want players to respect, and I'm not talking about just your players, but players from across the league. You want them to respect you as a management team, right? And you want them to, if you give your word, players need to know that you're keeping your word. You know, if you, just like Cleveland, they traded Dwayne Wade back to Miami. Cleveland is really getting nothing out of the trade. They got a 2nd-round pick that is protected, has whatever kind of protections on it, which means they're probably going to get nothing. Why did they do it? They do it to do a solid to Dwayne Wade, right? It's just that kind of respect thing. You know what I'm saying? Part of being management is building a rapport around the league with players, so that players feel like, okay, I can go to this team and I can trust them. That's what San Antonio does. They treat their players well, right? So players aren't afraid to go to San Antonio. They don't feel like they're taking a chance with their career. San Antonio has built up some goodwill with players. You know, and the only thing I'd be afraid about just waiving Jarrett Jack right out, just waiving him, is that you get the reputation around the league that you don't really care about your players. You know, you're not taking care of your players. I'm sure people look at Billy and say, you know, the Knicks didn't take care of him, right? They didn't develop him. They didn't give him the chance that he needed. And you don't want to have that kind of reputation. I think the thing to do, I think waiving him is probably the right thing to do for the team, but you also need to look at the way that you're developing your rapport with players around the league. So I think the thing to do is to talk with Jarrett Jack and ask him what would he like to do. What's he see going forward? I think they need to be upfront with him and talk to him about the future of the team, if they have him in their future or not. And of course, if they have him in their future, it's not going to be as a player that's getting a lot of minutes, but it would be as a mentor. You know, a guy that sits on the end of the bench and, you know, gets maybe some spot minutes here and there. I think they need to talk to him, find out what his goals are. You know what I'm saying? Find out, does he want to be waived so that he can try to jump onto a playoff team? Things like that. You've got to do that. And I know, you know, people might be like, what do you mean you got to ask him first? But that's the way, you know, when you're a manager and you're in a situation like that, you know, you got to give those kind of players that respect, especially a player who, you know, as much as, I mean, we're 10 games below 500, but in the beginning of the season, he really helped us out. You know, we got to give him some respect. We got to give Jarrett Jack a little bit of respect. In the beginning of the season, he came. He was on a non-guaranteed contract and became the starter. Helped us to play well in the beginning of the season. He did what he came to do, help to mentor Frank. And he can help to mentor some of these other young guys. Someone like Mudiay might need a Jarrett Jack around. Seriously, he might need a Jarrett Jack around to help him with his game in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I think you owe him that respect to at least ask him what he sees his future is, and let him know what Steve Mills, Scott Perry needs to let him know. This is what we see your future with our team. If you're on the team, then you're probably going to be on the bench, mentoring these young guys. We can waive you, because if you waive players by before March 1st, they can still jump onto a playoff roster. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to do that. You got to give guys those kind of respect, that kind of respect. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it. That's how you treat players in the NBA. That's why teams like San Antonio and Golden State and them guys, that's the reason why, players are willing to take less money. Teams like Houston, even Dallas, because, Mark Cuban treats his guys really well out there. So you got to give those guys, that kind of respect. But Jarrett Jack, at the very least, for the remainder of the season, should be on the bench. We know that. And I think management should talk to him, pose the question of him being waived, and then do what's right from there. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Why am I discussing Jarrett Jack? Because I can. That's why I'm discussing Jarrett Jack. Because we have a point guard mess, right? We have 4 point guards, and he's part of the team right now. You know what I'm saying? And we have to do something with him, right? And if we're developing the kind of a team that that players around the league respects, then we've got to treat our players right. And if we're going to waive them, if we're going to do something, we have to do it the right way. That's why I'm talking about Jarrett Jack. That's that. You know what I'm saying? We've got to sort out this point guard mess. We've got to sort it out. And he's obviously part of the mess. You know what I'm saying? He's part of the mess. So he's going to be discussed. That's why. You know what I'm saying? I mean, geez. So now I can't talk about who I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk about it. That's an issue that obviously the team has to face. So I'm going to talk about it if I want to talk about it. So there we go. You know what I'm saying? Nick D, you say Jack will continue to train these young guys. He might. He might continue to train the young guys. And, he wouldn't be bad for Ntilikina, Mudiay, and Burke. He wouldn't be a bad guy. But, and my point to all of this, for everyone who, wants to dictate who I talk about, my point through all of this is that if you waive Jack, and this is where the conundrum comes in. You know what I'm saying? This is where it comes in. This is where the problem comes in. There's value in keeping Jack on a team because he can mentor those guys, right? And you owe him that respect. You know what I'm saying? You owe him that respect. But if you waive him, you could open up a spot on the team. We already have one roster spot that's open. If you waive him, you can open up another roster spot. Now, if you open up that roster spot, you obviously can fill it. And you can maybe fill it with young guys. And that's the idea. That's what we want to do, right? We want to add young guys. So that's a conundrum right there for the team. they've got to think about it. You know what I'm saying? They got to think about how they want to proceed, and while they're dealing with this mess with point guards. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We got to figure out how we're going to proceed. You know, figure it out. Now, when we do proceed, let's just assume we do waive Jarrett Jack. We can probably seriously open up about 3. We have 1 roster spot open. We can probably open up 2 more. Appreciate that, Yusuf. Thank you. Thank you for joining the stream. We could probably open up about 2 more. If you waive Jarrett Jack, and then we're going to talk about it later, and if you buy out Joakim Noah, you can open up 2 spots to add young players. If we're going to add young players, do we do it through the waiver wire? Do we look at the waiver wire? Do we go to the G League, bring up our own guys? That's something we're going to talk about what to do. But I'm going to open up the lines because I want to talk to Who's Mark. I want to talk to you, bro. So call in. Call in right now. And I want to hear from you about what you think about the trade. I want to hear from you about the waiver wire or G League. You see, I want to know what you think about it. All right, so I'm opening up the lines to call in. We got the first call. I thought, Who's Mark? All this noise, Who's Mark talking? He's never the first one to call in, ever. Never the first one to call in. Right? He's always quick to say open up the lines, but he never makes it to call in. You can't call in now because we already got somebody on the line, bro. So open up the lines to call in. Hey, Ronald, can you do me a favor? Can you turn that down in the back? You late, Mark. Mark, you late. You late, Mark. You late. Somebody else already called in. One second. You're not on the line yet. I'm about to pull you over. All right, I'm gonna pull you over. All right, as soon as these people stop calling in, everyone's calling in. I already got you on the line. Okay, we got Mr. Ronald Cleveland on the line. Say what's up to the chat for me, bro, please.
What's up, Nick family? What's up, chat? Man, it's time, Black. It's time.
Yes,
it's
sir.
time. Hey, I'm feeling you tonight, man. I'm listening to what you telling these folks, man. They got to calm down and be patient, man. The stuff that's going on right now with us, it's the youth movement, and I wanted to get on last night with you, but I understand, your time was limited. But the thing, when Porzingis got hurt, I really look at it as a blessing in disguise because, and you've seen it all season, the team really didn't look like they had what direction it was going in. And so when he got hurt, they were able to pivot and say, now we're going with the youth movement. And I like the idea of getting Mudiay. If you recall, Mudiay wanted to come to New York.
Yeah, he did. He wanted to come to New York, and he was disappointed that he didn't get drafted to the Knicks.
Exactly. So now when you look at the fact you got him, we got him on the contract for another 2 years, I believe. So when KP comes back, you get to see what they're going to look like together. And that potential duo of him and Frank, I'm listening to people talking about offense. You don't have to have everybody scoring. You know the game of basketball. But when you got defense win championships in every sport.
Right. Yep. That's the truth, man. That's the truth. That win and I'm excited to see what Mudiay and KP looks like together.
Oh, I think it's going to be a problem.
As a matter of fact, okay, I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys, and I'm sure most of you guys did the same thing. That draft, 2015 draft, I wanted the Knicks to take Mudiay at that 4th spot.
You and me both.
I wanted them to take Mudiay, and when they took Porzingis, all I did is I put my hands in my face because I knew in my heart that they were going to take Porzingis, but I wanted them to take Mudiay. But I just felt it. I knew Phil Jackson wanted a versatile big man, and I just wasn't sure about him because he didn't work out for anybody. He had that one workout where he looked good, but he was playing against air, right? But But after they drafted KP, and then I seen him play, I was like, wow, okay, this guy could be good. And I thought he could be a decent player. I was just nervous, just nervous. But then I was always thinking to myself, man, what if we would have gotten KP and Mudiay? If we found some way to do that. That was always in the back of my head somewhere after the draft. What if we would have found a way to get KP and Mudiay? And now we got them. I want to see how this works out.
Well, it's going to be dangerous because now you're going to have an aggressive, powerful point guard that can actually play the two guard. And I'm listening to these people. The days of playing positions in the NBA, that's done. You got to be multiple. You got to be multifaceted. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to do multiple things. And the teams that are able to win, if you look at them, is a team that can throw players out there and they can play multiple positions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And New York, and I'm gonna tell you what, I commend Scott a lot, man. Scott Perry and Steve Mills for the fact, and I put it up on the chat earlier. This is the first time that I really watched the Knicks front office have patience. It's not about listening to all that white noise out there and saying, oh, you need to get this player, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's what's in the best interest of the team long range. All that short-sighted thinking, them days is over with as long as Steve Mills and Scott Perry's here. And more so, I think Scott Perry more than anything. The clout that guy has, and I agree with you 100%. You can't just discard Jack like he's trash.
Right.
That's going to send a bad message to the rest of the free agents.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want to come to New York. We already got a knock because of the owner. Personally, I don't have a problem with the owner. The dude willing to spend the money. He's just made some bad decisions. I wish the Oakley stuff, I would be happy the day that gets resolved and Oakley come back to the Garden. Matter of fact, even put him in the coaching spot and let him coach the defense. Put him on the defense. We won't have a problem with all these wide open threes. I guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kurt Rambis got to go too. Get him out of here.
Yeah, Kurt Rambis got to go too. Kurt Rambis got to go. Hey, Ronald, thank you for the call, man. I know we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people trying to call in. Want to call in. So I want to try to get to as many people as I can.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And the last thing I got to say, Simeon, Mark Jackson is on the way, man. This is lining up for him.
You think so?
Yeah, Mudiay, 2 young point guards. Jeff Davis is numbered, man. Okay. I hate to say it, but numbered.
Well, Scott Perry, he did an interview the other day, and he said you saw it? Yeah, he said.
The word that phrase was at this time.
At this time. He's not going to do it in season. He's not doing it in season. Right.
You have a good one, man. Hey, I'm enjoying what you're doing. What's up, chat? Hey, New York, we'll be back.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Okay. I'm about to bring Mark on. Who's Mark? I'm about to bring you on. Hold
But I was saying,
hold on, Mark. I didn't get you on there yet. Somebody had called in. Okay, you on? You're on now. You there now? But
I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm saying I've been smiling since I walked in my door because I seen a 7-foot today that looks very athletic. That can actually shoot, that can actually set a screen and roll properly. And he could run the floor.
Yeah.
But my main thing of today, when I turned on my television, I'm wondering why is Jarrett Jack starting?
I mean,
listen. I don't have a problem with Jarrett Jack on the team at all.
Yeah.
He can mentor from the bench, please.
You're right.
But the trade that we did today, that was a great trade because guess what, guys? We got a 7-footer that can screen, run, block shots, that could shoot.
Hey, man.
I smiled throughout that loss. Like, that didn't even bother me.
Yeah.
That didn't even bother me tonight. And another thing, Mudiay, I like him because I like him a lot because he looks to drive all the time. Coach Malone didn't like him. He wasn't willing to give him a chance. That's what it was. Everybody knew that in the league. He wouldn't give him a chance to really flirt. It's like they're rushing his process. He's only 20. He's only 21. I forgot. I thought he was like 23. Yeah, He's only 21.
Exactly.
21.
Ain't that something? And
21.
And people forget he's basically in the NBA out of high school. People forget about that.
Yo,
because
bro,
he went from the
people,
NBA.
y'all gotta look at age sometimes.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta look at age sometimes because trust me, it only takes consistency. He's just not consistent yet. It's more of they judging him off his shooting. That's why they're not taking a chance on him because he really can't. He's not a good shooter. He's a good corner shooter. If you have plays to set him up in the corner, he will knock those down.
Yeah.
Now, my other thing. Now that we got him, right? Trey Burke can go out the door now.
You think
he
so?
He can go out the door. Yeah,
hey,
he can go out the door.
You know what? Listen.
I'd rather keep Jack than him.
I was thinking the same thing today. I'm dead up with you, Mark. I was thinking the same exact thing.
I'm watching him. He's not playing with that enthusiasm when you seen him playing in the G League. Sometimes if that don't transfer from the G League, it's like sometimes it's like you watching him. It's like he wants to. He know that he's playing on the Knicks. He might get a contract. Not a contract, but might stay with us for next year. I don't know. I'm not too sure. So it's like, and then KP went down. So it's like the urgency of him being on the floor now. It ain't as dire as it was. So it's like you seen him tonight. He was more timid. He wasn't Trey Burke when we saw him the first few games.
Now
I would keep Jack because I listen to Jack. I listen to him on podcasts, and when you listen to him, I believe in Jack. But when I see him on the court, it's like an eternity. It's like watching.
I know.
God.
I know.
It's like an eternity watching him on the floor, and I'm like, okay, listen, we ain't winning games because number one, we ain't athletic. Our only problem is that we are not athletic at all. It's just.
But that's what Mudiay brings. He brings some athleticism.
Yeah.
But now,
and he's only 21. And the thing is, you could play him and Frank. But what people gotta understand, when they get plays to put Frank in positions where he could be a knockdown shooter, because there's no kind of knockdown, there's no type of offense where it's letting players knock down shots. It's more coming off curls and all that stuff. We don't have those type of players.
Right.
We have knockdown shooters, not curl. We don't have Cal Culver. Courtney Lee ain't that. It's a knockdown shooter. So if you don't have plays for those guys, it's going to be a lot of forceful offense, which it is almost every night.
Yeah.
Everybody in this Mark Jackson thing, no, we can't take him. Number one reason why his offense ain't diverse enough. It ain't. Because Stephen Curry, when he had Stephen Curry in him, Stephen Curry bailed. Stephen Curry had the handle, and he had the star power, and he was getting his respect, and he was already good. His offense was barely one-on-one. That's why teams was taking him out as early as possible because they was predictable.
Yeah. Now,
my coach that I'm looking at right now, and the only coach that I want is Fizdale. Y'all got to understand something. What the Knicks need now is a coach that commands, like literally, like commands them to play hard. There's no effort on this floor. Like you gotta understand something. A person like Jeff, his what would you call it? The way he displays himself, it's like, okay, you say something and then we go on the floor and we don't run it. We need a coach that's gonna sink it into their fucking head. Just like when you see Tom Thibodeau sinking into them and how he gets mad at them and they know like you messed up. Like last night, I'm watching. They messed up last night. They could have won that Cleveland game. And when you watch Tom Thibodeau, how he reacts, you need a coach like that for these young players, for them to be great and for them to be more, not to turn over the ball. Our problem, we turn over the ball over 20 times a game.
Yeah, we do. 15.
That's
15
why.
a game.
Yo, listen.
15, we average 15 turnovers a game.
Yo, listen. We average about 20 a night. That 15 ain't 15. It's like 20 a night.
We average 15, man. It's just stats. We average 15. It might seem like 20 because I know you take a lot of things hard. So one
it's not even taking hard, but it's like almost every play is like getting kidnapped.
Yeah, one turnover probably feels like 2 turnovers to you, man.
We lose games just off the fact we turn that ball over. It's not that we can't play good defense. We play good defense at times, but it's the turnovers, bro. It is the turnover. But that was a good trade because guess what? By Willie getting traded he can't move his feet at all. This 7-footer, he made me smile all night.
Yeah.
I felt like we won tonight.
I liked him. I like what I saw from him. Of course, we need to see more. Of course.
Yeah,
you know, we need to see more, see what he could.
In the sample size, what I saw him do is how he, when they came off the screen, how far he moved. It's like the space that he created. And just imagine having him and KP like that. And then when Kornet gets enough, the thing is, he didn't give enough minutes. He was rushing a lot of shit. When I saw his stats coming up, 15 points, 46 from the field, and 44 from three, and 7 rebounds, I was like, who is he?
Yeah.
Who is he?
Yeah.
Now tonight, I'm going to go back and watch his games. But what I saw from a sample size, he didn't get enough minutes, so he was rushing everything. But what I saw him do was run that floor. But when I see how he's big. He's like when you watch him, he's like Cody Zeller. If you go look at Cody Zeller and them, they're fit, but they're rim runners, and they could grab rebounds, and he looks strong.
I mean,
like no one.
He played some good minutes. He played some.
Yeah, but he rushed a lot of things because the minutes.
He played some good minutes. He played 22 minutes tonight.
Yeah, but
minutes. Played some decent minutes tonight.
Yeah, it's his first time, but it's different when he gets more comfortable. It's gonna look to do little things more smarter. Yeah. Everything he's rushing. Like the shots he was taking, he rushed a lot of it. But I like what I seen tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Let me get. We got a lot of people that want to call in. Let me get on, man. Cause
all right, man.
I definitely appreciate the call, and I was only messing with you when I said that. I wasn't.
No, I know you, man. I don't take things serious at all. So
I wasn't serious.
It's all good.
All right, man. Appreciate the call, bro. Appreciate the call. All right, so let's just check out some of the stats from tonight, folks. We didn't really get a chance to, and I know I got some people calling in. You can go ahead and call in, and what I'll probably do is just put you on hold for a second while I go over the stats. But I do want to get into this whole thing about the G League and waiver wire and where we get players. But before then, I want to talk about Luke Kornet for a bit. I got Joshua on the line. Joshua, give me a minute, all right? Give me a minute, Joshua, then I'll open you up. All right. But looking at the game, and you know, of course, the big focus is not going to be the game tonight. But at some point, we got to talk about it. So let's just go into it now. We lost 113-88. You know, we wasn't going to expect to win this game, most likely. I don't think anyone expected us to win this game. You know, we did get a chance to see some young guys play. I'm not sure if we were winning down the stretch. I'm not quite sure that Hornacek would have played these guys down the stretch if we were winning. Right? But Tim Hardaway played horrible. Shot 28.6% from the field. He still played 29 minutes, and I'm screaming up. I wasn't screaming, but I'm like, hey, just take him out of the game and play Dotson. If he ain't hitting, why are we keeping him in the game? You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, you want to, I guess, let him shoot himself out of it. Let him shoot himself out of it in practice. You know what I'm saying? If he's not hitting, put Dotson in the game. Because Hardaway, like we said, he gets in his head and he can't get himself out of it. You know, I don't want that on the floor. He pouts and all this junk on the floor. I don't want that on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Let the young guy, let Dotson play if he's not hitting. You know, Beasley, 21 points, 7 rebounds. Kyle Quinn, 9 points, 8 rebounds. Courtney Lee didn't play well, 4 points, 4 rebounds. Jarrett Jack had 10 points, 6 assists, 23 minutes. Lance Thomas didn't do anything. Frank had 5 points, 3 assists, had a lot of turnovers. You know, what I notice about Frank with his turnovers, man, his turnovers sometimes come off of lazy passes. It's like he, you know, just thinks he's going to get there. He's got to learn he can't throw those lazy passes because they're going to get snatched. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes he throws lazy passes out there. Luke Kornet played 22 minutes, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. He looked good. You know, I'm not going to say he's the second coming of anyone. Well, I will say he's the second coming. Maybe he's the second coming of his name. I can't think of his name now. You know, guy that hit threes from 2012, 2013, Novak. You know, he kind of reminds me of Novak a little bit. Maybe he's a little bit more athletic than Novak. But we'll talk about Luke in a minute. Isaiah Hicks played 17 minutes. He looks like maybe he needs a little bit more grooming to me. Trey Burke didn't do. I mean, he had 12 points, but he was okay. Damian Dotson didn't get a chance to play much. That's really the story of the game. So let's get back to, let's talk about where we pick up players from moving forward, and how we move forward. We got Joshua Okran. How do I say your last name?
Okran.
Joshua Okran on the line.
Yo.
Joshua, do me a favor, give a shout out to the chat, please.
Yo, what's good, chat? See, I know y'all anxious. Talking about this trade, it's actually a good trade, actually. Kind of like Mudiay. I think everybody wanted Mudiay in that 2015 draft. Pretty good player. I think he's gonna be more motivated to play, actually, because he wanted to be in New York. I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
Trey looked sloppy today. Trey Burke looked sloppy today. I don't know if y'all seen it. And Luke Kornet, he been playing good in the G League, but we ain't have space on the team, so.
Yeah, and there's always a question on whether or not it's going to translate to the NBA. Trey Burke, we knew his game could translate to the NBA because he played in the NBA before. He just had to get some things together. And he came in, he scored 18 points a couple of times, played well a few times, and then you always got to see, can he sustain that level of play?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the only thing we're worried about, is just sustaining them. I mean, you look at other teams, they bringing up these G Leaguers, they actually playing good, but I don't know. Like, it's the same like with Trey. Like, you see what happened with him in Utah. Dante Exum came in and he started playing bad, and then they sent him to the G League. So
yeah.
They bring in Mudiay in now. He's gonna be a little frustrated. Like, he's gonna be a little what's that word? I can't even find the word.
Flustered a little bit.
Yeah. He a little flustered. So,
and that's something I think we need to watch. We need to pay attention to Trey Burke and see how he reacts, because he admitted that he was when Dante Exum went to Utah, that it messed with his psyche.
Yep.
And he wasn't able to play, right, at the level that he was used to playing, because he was a little bit uncomfortable. He didn't know what the team thought of him, and the team was asking him to do some things that I guess he didn't feel was in his game. So now we need to watch and see if he does the same thing now. And if he does the same thing, then that means mentally he's not going to be able to stand up, stay in the NBA, play in the NBA. That's what I think. Right. Now, who's smart? He said earlier that Trey can go, and honestly, I thought the same thing earlier when we got Mudiay. I was like, well, you know what? We got two big guards now. Maybe we don't need Trey Burke, and we got a guard that can penetrate. But I do want to see. Mike Breen during the game said that the Knicks believe that they can use all three guards together.
Yeah,
I want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, that's actually not bad though.
I want to see what that looks like.
You could start Mudiay, let Frank come off the bench, and then let Trey just use the rest of the minutes. That's not bad, actually. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah. So
I'm not.
Yeah. So I want to see. I want to see what that looks like, and see if they can make that work. You never know, because Jeff Hornacek, when he coached the Phoenix Suns and they played well, they had that one good season. He had a lot of guards that could attack. He had guards, Bledsoe. Had Isaiah Thomas. I forgot who else he had on the squad, but he had some other guards. You know what I'm saying? And so I'd like to see, what he can do, because now he's got guards. He's got some guards he can work with. I want to see what he can do for the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody's saying that we should fire Jeff Hornacek. I don't know about that, because he's only been here for like what, two years, 2.5 years.
I mean, I honestly, I don't know if Jeff Hornacek is going to be the guy, but I think that Scott Perry is going to give him a chance. I've been saying it. I think Scott Perry is going to try to get him some players that fit the style of game that he likes to play, and see what he can do. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's probably owed that too. You know, after you know his first, this is almost like his first year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's almost like his first year. So, you know, we have to see how that goes.
Thank God for Scott Perry. Thank God for Steve Mills, because I remember the time that we fired, as soon as we fired Glenn Grunwald, it was, that's when it started. That's when everything started turning around. They hired Phil Jackson, started running this triangle through the whole organization, and everything went down. But I hope they could just continue to sustain, just go through the adversity. I hope KP come back stronger than ever. I really wanted to see him in the All-Star game, you know, win the MVP, win the Steal Challenge.
Man. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully they drive. I hope we I don't mind the losing. Like, I just want to see the players playing hard.
Yeah.
I want a top 10 pick.
I don't mind the losing, but if we lose, I want to see the young guys play. If we losing, I want to see the young guys out there losing for us.
Definitely,
you know what I'm saying? I want to see the young guys out there. Let me rephrase that. I want to see the young guys out there trying to win, but because they're young, they don't have the experience or the skill to win. You know, but I want to see the young guys out there playing. But hey, Joshua, man, I'm gonna go because we got a lot of people trying to call us. So I'm really trying to stick to the time. All right. I appreciate the call, man. Definitely appreciate the call.
No problem. Love the show. Go Black is Talk.
No doubt. It's time again. Always. Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about Luke Kornet. And I want to transition this right into waiver and G League. I've been trying to get to this for a while, but we haven't been able to. You know, I want to talk about if we do waive Jarrett Jack, and I don't think that's going to happen. But if we did waive a Jarrett Jack, or we did waive a what's his name, Trey Burke, right? Then we would open up a roster spot, another roster spot, and we already have a roster spot opened up, right? We have one roster spot available. I want to know from you all, where do we get players from? Because after every trade deadline, there's players that are waived to make room for other players and things like that. And so we haven't seen all of it. We haven't seen the fallout of everything yet. Tomorrow, maybe the next day, we'll probably see some of the fallout from today's, you know, from today's actions and what went on today. We'll see some fallout from it. So I want to, you know, what do you guys think we do? Do we call up our guys from the G League? You know, Kornet and Hicks. If we have two spots, we know we're going to have one spot, right? We know we're going to have one spot. So it looks like maybe we'll call up. I'm not going to say it looks like, maybe right now, because of tonight's game, everyone is probably going to say call up Luke Kornet. Sunday versus Indiana, Hicks could come in and drop 15 and 10, and everyone to say, no, call up Hicks. From my eyes, just on the eye test, I think that Hicks probably needs more time in the G League. But I want to know what you guys think, and I'm going to talk about Luke Kornet a little bit. But I want to know what you guys think. You know, what do we do? Do we call him up? Well, do we waive someone so we can open up another spot? Maybe buy out Noah so we can open up another spot. If you got 3 spots, then how do you fill it? All right, so we got Isaiah on the line. And Isaiah, won't you give a shout out to the chat, please?
Shout out to the chat. What's good, y'all? Blackest time. You already know what's good, man.
For sure, man. What's popping with you? How you feeling about this trade? How do you feel about one second. How do you feel about how do you think we should go about filling in these open roster spots? Do we just call up players from the G League, or you know, call up players from the G League using our two-way contracts like Jason M is talking about? Exactly, Jason. Kornet is on a two-way contract. We don't need to sign him, right? So do we call up one of our two-way guys like Kornet, or do we pick up guys off the waiver wire? I mean, I think it's smart to see what happens on the waiver wire. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Yeah, so definitely I just want to start off by saying it was definitely a good trade. I like the trade. I'm gonna be. It's funny. I'm gonna be really real. The 2015 draft. I had a Bleacher Report, and I really wanted Cat because I thought Cat was gonna fall to number 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. I know he wanted to be I know he was talking to Phil Jackson, and he grew up a Knicks fan, so I was really hoping for Cat that year. But then it's crazy when I heard we got Porzingis. I talked to my boy. He was like, "Yo, Porzingis wasn't gonna go out of the top 5." So I was like, "All right, I'll give him a chance." And the rest is history right there. But I did like Mudiay that year. We needed a point guard that year badly because we didn't have a point guard, and he was looking like the best point guard that year. So, hey, I'm glad we finally got him, and I'm glad we got him. I like him and Frank. I believe we don't waive Jack just on a simple respect that he's a veteran, and he did save our season when we had a chance to make the playoffs. So. I hope we just, because he's a journeyman. He's going to leave next year anyway. He's going to leave. Might as well let him finish what he started. Give him that option because that's what Cleveland did with Dwayne today. They said, hey, you can stay here. We're going to reduce your minutes, or you go to Miami. Whatever you want to do, we cool with it.
Right. And I think that's a cool thing to do. You know what I'm saying? That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, and I believe, because I read articles before that Jack, he was like, what, I started here. I want to finish here. You're the only team that gave me a chance. So whatever he wants to do, I do think the Knicks will respect whatever he does or whatever he wants to do. So I believe in that. And I believe, and I'm hoping this happens, I believe we're going to see Noah brought out because just on the simple fact that when I watched the trade today, I heard the Jazz are gonna waive Derrick Rose and he's gonna go to Minnesota. Yeah. So I'm hoping that happens because I know how bad Joakim wants to play with Thibs and all them guys again. So hopefully that motivates him to leave some money on the table. We buy him out. Everybody's cool. We could get that past us, and we could just move on. We could all move on from that situation.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Noah has to agree to it. You know what I'm saying? He has to agree to it. Yeah. I think it would be smart to buy him out. Because if you buy him out, you can open up a roster spot to bring in another young player. You know what I'm saying? And I think that'd be the smart thing to do. Buy him out. Bring in another young player, a young guy that you can develop. I think that's the smart thing to do. But of course, Noah has to agree to a buyout.
True.
And the reports have been that he didn't want to agree to a buyout. He didn't want to agree to less money. But if he wants to play in the playoffs, then he'd agree to a buyout. And it might be smart for his career, to be honest with you. If he was bought out and then he went and signed with a team like Minnesota, if they had the roster spot, because Minnesota is about winning now. You look at the team that they put together, it's about winning now, right? That's why. That's the reason why they would pick up a Derrick Rose. Tom Thibodeau knows how to use Derrick Rose. They have a relationship. Derrick Rose probably needs to be in a place, Derrick Rose is kind of weak mentally. He needs to be in a place where he's familiar and comfortable. That's not too far from Chicago. He'll probably do well there. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that happening for sure. And then if Joakim Noah came back, they would probably waive someone, maybe a young player, who knows. But if Joakim Noah went there, I could see it being a good fit. You got Taj Gibson. You got Tom Thibodeau.
You got Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. Joakim Noah. I mean, you got the Bulls all over again with some added firepower. So I could see that happening.
Yeah. And also, too, with the waivers, I mean, I think we're definitely going to look. I think we're going to do the waiting game and see, because I like what's his name? Kornet?
Kornet, yeah. Kornet.
Yeah.
Kornet, I think.
Yeah, I like Kornet tonight. He like Mark was saying earlier, he was moving his feet, but blocking shots. You know, that's not, and honestly, you know, against our young Raptors team that likes to move around and they run. I'm not gonna lie, that was not a bad debut, but it wasn't a bad debut for him. But you know, as we all know, as Knicks fans, we always see players like this come. They always do something like this, then we fall in love. Like you said, we should wait a couple games, see how he does, and if he keeps doing good, hopefully that's our next second unit center or stretch 4, stretch 5, whatever you want to call them. Right. I just want to see him a couple more games before I start, you know, thinking, hey, bridge, right? Like, yeah, because I mean, we've seen this with a lot of guys over the last couple of years where they played out one good game and we're all like, yo, this is the next this and that. Then he just fizzles out. So let's just be patient with that and let's just see what happens with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Be patient with him, and see what he does. Hey, Isaiah, thank you for the call, man. I know we got a lot of people trying to call in.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, can I just say one quick thing? One quick thing.
Yeah, for sure.
For everybody keep talking about Frank going to the G League, and then you can hang up after this. Everybody keep talking about Frank going to the G League. Can we stop it? He has to play to the level of competition in the NBA. There's no point of him downgrading competition to play just so he can get confidence. He has to play up with the big dogs so he can learn. We got to stop saying G League. That it doesn't make sense for him. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right. We got Mr. Martinez on the line. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, my brother?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling. So I want to find out from you. You know, we're kind of talking about how to fill these open spots on the Knicks. You know, through the waiver wire, through the G League. But I know a lot of people want to talk about Kornet. You know, we haven't really gotten into him a little too much at all. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to talk about Luke Kornet a little bit. What do you think about him?
Well, I mean, the boy. You can't teach height, you know.
Right.
So I mean, he got that going for him, and I think sometimes like you said, sometimes I think maybe he's, you got Porzingis, he's an overseas player, you got a college player, so sometimes maybe that transition will be a little smoother. But I think the Knicks right now, which is funny because right now with these spots that need to fill up right now, I think the main focus should be right now, like you said, I agree with you 100%. Let's get the young players. Let's see what these young players can do, and I think our focus right now should be the draft. Like, can we? Because right now, if you want to showcase everything that we have, because you don't know who at the top of the draft may be looking at one of our players, say, I can use that guy right now, move up a couple of spots, because right now, I don't think the Knicks in a position right now where we don't want to rush KP back. We can't wait for KP. We should just move on ahead, let him do his rehab, take his time, build his, his lower body, and let's focus on the young guys. Let's focus on the draft. And if we're going to pick up anybody to fill up those spots, I think it should be with the mindset of, okay, if we pick up this guy from the waivers or from the G League, how can these guys help us in the draft and in the offseason? Because right now we already know that with KP not coming back to the middle of next year, basically it's almost like this year, next year is a wash. Right? So in other words, it's like I think the goal should still be 2019, which we really don't know what's going to happen. But you want to be in a position where where we are one of the players. And of course, we know it's no guarantee that we're going to get a 1 or 2 players in 2019. But if we're not in a position, like I said, we don't give ourselves a chance, then that's going to be another year down the drain. So I think right now we should just focus. 2019 should still be the goal. Let's see what these young players can do, and let's focus on if we can make any moves. Because with Mudiay, which I know some people, there's mixed reaction. I've seen reading some of the feeds online and some of the blogs, and they were like, well, why we get Mudiay? Well, like, first of all, you want to get as many assets and talent as possible because you don't know who's going to be asking for what, come on draft day,
Right.
And
Right.
for example, like the Lakers ain't going nowhere this year, but they had something that Cleveland wanted, and because they had assets or they had young players, now they what? Now they got salary, or they made room for salary, even though there's no guarantee they're gonna get two max players this summer, but they're gonna be in a position. But if they didn't have those players, like we've been saying, we gotta get younger, we gotta get more athletic, and we have to have assets. And if you don't have those things, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna pick up that phone and say, hey, So I'm glad that we got a little bit younger. And Moody, it's funny because we were just talking about Mudiay the other day when we played Denver.
Right.
I was telling you that I was like, I said, well, I'm glad we got KP instead of Mudiay. But you know what? Another thing, I don't know if anyone mentioned this. If anyone mentioned this on the chat, shout out to the chat. My bad, I forgot to say that. But he was supposed to go play for Larry Brown in SMU.
Yeah. Mudiay.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's a coincidence or there's a connection there where Larry Brown picked up the phone and told Scott Perry, hey, take a look at this kid. This kid.
It could be because because Larry Brown and Scott Perry was in Detroit together, right?
Yeah, and Larry Brown was recruiting him as SMU, and then he was supposed to go to SMU, and then he decided to go to China.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to SMU. He was in a private school.
Yeah,
That school, I guess, they didn't get their education, their academics weren't. I can't think of the name of what I'm trying to say, but their academics weren't up to par.
Right.
And because of that, he wasn't able to get into SMU, so he ended up going overseas and playing.
Right.
He went overseas, and then he was kind of like the mystery guy that year because people wasn't sure, but of what he could do. But he was one of the top players in the nation at a high school.
Oh yeah, and I remember Larry Brown saying that he was he was going to come in as a starter. I mean, he was like this guy. He wanted him really bad, and then of course it didn't work out. So I wasn't too sure about the backstory, but I know he was being recruited by Larry Brown. When Larry Brown was, coming out of high school. But you know what? We got a younger player. There's room for, and like you guys been saying earlier tonight, fill up these spots. I would say if you're gonna fill up these spots, what is the plan? Is it the plan to fill up these spots because we want to put ourselves in position this summer or for the draft? Because obviously you already know that this summer we don't have no money to spend. So I would say, what's the mindset? Like, what is the blueprint for this year? And I think the draft right now should be a big focus.
Yeah. It should be a big focus. Matter of fact, starting in the next stream, I'm gonna start reviewing draft players. I mean, reviewing the draft, man.
I know. We have to be lucky to get guys like a Michael Porter Jr. or like a Mikal Bridges from guys like that. But we need a versatile player that can play 4, to play the 3, so we don't have to be because. I think about when Yao Ming went down, everybody's like sometimes people say, oh, we're waiting for this player to come back, but we already know he's not going to be 100% next year. It may take him the following year for KP to be 100%. So, why put that pressure on him, which I don't think the Knicks are going to try to rush him because that's a franchise right there. But it wouldn't bother me if we look for another franchise, get lucky, get another franchise player in this draft.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hear you.
I feel like right now let's start from scratch. I mean, because KP is not going to be available to maybe the earliest December, February next year. So
yeah, something like that.
That's half of the season right there. So but before I let you go, I was going to ask you a question because I know we keep talking about Jeff Hornacek, and obviously he's going to be here for the rest of the year. But since I know you say you coach AAU and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if this guy was available, I know he's not, but would you think it would be wise to bring, let's say, D'Antoni back to New York?
Mike D'Antoni?
What do you think about that?
When you look at the job, now, of course, he has a lot of talent in Houston. So he's got super talent in Houston.
Right.
But if you look at today's game, Mike D'Antoni created today's game.
That's what I'm asking. That's why I'm asking you that.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Mike D'Antoni coming back. Honestly, I wouldn't.
He's big on offense because his motto is like if you and you're a coach in AAU, and you could probably speak on this more than I can because I'm not really a coach. But his motto, his philosophy is that if you come out the gate scoring, bam, 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 three-point line, that puts pressure on the other team that they got to score, and if they're not ready to score, so his thing is like, you know what, we got to score, and that's put pressure on the other team to keep up with us.
And I think what a lot of people got wrong about Mike D'Antoni, people always talked about, that he couldn't coach defense, which he's proven people wrong because, they got a pretty good defensive team in Houston, and the Knicks didn't play a lot of defense. A lot of times, your defense is going to be based on the kind of players that you have.
Right.
But one of the things that he always stressed that I really respected about him is he said, people want to look at the score of a game to determine if a team is playing defense or not. He said, I look at their shooting percentage.
Right.
And that I think that's really, really true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you can have it, you can play a really slow offense. Right? And where you take up a lot of time and you're methodical about everything that you do and you really slow things down. Mm-hmm. And you score 90 points, the other team scores 95 points, but they shoot 55% from the field. Mm-hmm. Just because you held them to 95 points doesn't mean you played great defense if they shot 55% from the floor. Mm-hmm. Right? But a team, you can score 115 points and the other team scores, 112 points or whatever it is. And you might look and say, well, you gave up 112 points to them. But if they shot 30% from the field, how many shots did they have to take to get that 112 points? Right,
because he believes in getting more possessions than the other team.
Exactly. So I wouldn't mind Mike D'Antoni. I think he would do a heck of a job with Frank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's crazy because even though Jeremy Lin was a short stint, but just the fact the way he ran his offense from Phoenix to New York is like a lot of players kind of like that. I know Carmelo was he's not the type of player that was made for that type of system, but his thing was like, you know what, put pressure on the other team coming out of the gates to just score as many points as we can. So
I mean, I think D'Antoni created today's game.
Yep.
Yep, he created. Hey, Ron, thank you for the call, man. I know we got some people that want to call in. Tony Crow's been trying to call for a while, but he can't get in. All right, bro.
All right.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, brother.
All right.
No problem. Go Knicks.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think that the direction, Ron, he was just talking about, when we're filling these spots, either from waiver wire or the G League, it depends on which direction that we want to go in, or that we're going in. And I think he's right. And I think what we need to do this year, if we buy out Noah, if we waive another player, we buy out Noah, we waive another player. I think our picture, our goal should be to collect young players, sign them for just the remainder of this year. Do not go past this year. And try them out, see what they do, see how they look, and then make a decision on whether or not you want to sign them for the future. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what, and then of course you'd be looking at guys that could possibly be assets if you want to try to move up in the draft or make trades during the draft or make trades in the off season. Well, if you sign them for the rest of this year, you won't be trading them. But you could do guys. If you pick up guys from the waiver wire, G League, whatever you do, you can always do where you sign the guy for the remainder of this year, and then sign him to a non-guaranteed contract. That means you can still trade him at the end of this year because you still have him on a contract. It's just not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times those non-guaranteed contracts, they don't become guaranteed until, a certain point, into training camp. If they're not waived by this point in training camp, then their contract becomes guaranteed, something like that. But I think that gives you the ability to trade them in the offseason, I believe. And I think that's the reason why they did it with Trey Burke. Trey Burke is signed for the remainder of this season, and then he has a non-guaranteed contract going into next year. You know, so I think that needs to be the direction where the Knicks look. You know, the idea, what they see going forward. I think that's the approach that they need to take. That's the word I'm looking for, approach. So, Tony Crow, we finally got you on the line. I know you was trying to get in, bro. Yeah, my man was trying to get in. What's going on, man?
Yo, Black, it's time. What up,
It's
chat?
time again, bro.
Word.
Yeah, you was trying to get in here, but you know, people was on the line. They was getting in before you.
Yeah, Skype is popping tonight. you might just get that sponsorship, man.
You know what I'm saying? Might just get that Joe, man.
So
what you think, man?
There's a couple topics. Let's start with Jack.
Okay.
I agree with you. There's definitely no reason to just let him go. If he wants to go, if his agent is talking to like some contending team, somebody wants him in the playoffs, by all means. But you don't just let him go for no reason. The two-way contracts, I guess they're like 45-day contracts. So we have 45 days to decide if we're gonna sign him for our team.
Okay.
So we don't got to rush on that decision. It's probably like 50 or maybe 55 days left in the season anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll know if we want to keep them both, or I mean the big man, what's his name?
Kornet. Luke.
Kornet. Yeah, Luke.
I think.
Yeah. He's a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
The scouting report on him was a 3-point shooter and a shot blocker. You know what I mean? Out of college.
Yeah.
Now, that's what he said when we drafted him, or when we signed him, I should say.
Yeah. Now, what I like about Luke, because you know I've been trying to get in and talk about him a little bit. I like that he knows where to go and where to be on the floor offensively. You know what I'm saying? It's like naturally he's moving to the right spots. He knows where to be. That says to me he's got a good basketball IQ. You know, now he's not really an athlete, and we need athletes, but we also need shooters that can spread the floor. You know, I when he first got in the game, I noticed immediately. Now Michael Beasley, he missed the dunk, but immediately Michael Beasley had a lane to the basket. He went up with the left, switched it to the right, but he missed the dunk. And part of that was because when Kornet came in for Kyle O'Quinn, he immediately spread the floor and opened up the lanes. I like that about him because he can spread the floor and get one of those big guys out the paint. Same way KP could do. You know, he's not as versatile as KP. You know what I'm saying? But he can spread the floor and get one of them big guys out the paint. So I definitely like that about him. He knows where to find his spots on the floor. That's how he got that open dunk, right? Because he just knows how to gravitate to where he's supposed to be and where the ball might flow. So that's a good thing. That's a positive about him right there.
And he can rebound.
And he can rebound at 10 boards tonight.
To me, he was just as good as Markkanen coming out the draft. I don't know if I had Markkanen, if I was undervaluing Markkanen or overvaluing Luke, but to me they was just as good as each other. Yeah. And I didn't understand why Markkanen. I knew Markkanen had a more prominent role on his team, so you know what I mean. He scored more, but Luke was good.
Yeah, Luke was good. I think Markkanen maybe is more athletic.
It's actually senior year. Maybe that was the main difference. I think Markkanen was a freshman, right?
Yeah, I think so. And seniors don't get the same.
They undervalued.
They're definitely undervalued. You know, I think when you look at the draft, I think if you are a team if you're a team that's young and wants to add talent, you look for young players. If you're a team that's looking to add somebody that's going to contribute right away, that you think is going to help you advance in the playoffs, And then you're probably looking at those players that are seniors or juniors or seniors because, they probably got an NBA type body. They've, their basketball IQ should be a little bit higher. They're a little bit more developed. Yep. The problem is that their ceiling might not be as high, but they're a little more mature. They're a little more NBA ready. That's what that was something really smart that I thought Phil Jackson was doing, honestly. When he was drafting, when he was drafting, because we didn't have high draft picks, he wasn't looking to take young 19-year-olds, right? He was looking for, because he knew we were trying to build, he was looking for seniors that were NBA ready, that could come in and produce. Now, did he always find them? Maybe not. But I like the fact that that's what he was looking for. That was his idea. I think that's smart, especially when you're drafting in that range. But I like what I saw from Kornet. I do think he's maybe like a Novacaine 2.0. You know what I'm saying?
He's definitely more versatile.
He's more versatile
than Novak.
Yeah, but he's more versatile than Novak.
The boy can shoot. The boy can shoot.
Oh. And he wasn't afraid to shoot it either. He wasn't nervous at all.
That's
he caught that. Like when I seen he caught it and pulled it, I was like, okay, he's not scared. So you gotta like that about him because he's gonna shoot it. You know what I mean? He's gonna shoot it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Let me touch on Mudiay real quick. Number one, a lot of people wanted him out the draft that year with KP. A lot of people, if we was going point guard route, that was definitely the pick I wanted. If all the people that wanted Kimba, that was crying for Kimba, they should be raving right now, because it's like we got Kimba coming out of college. You know, he got to develop his shot still, but he, like you've been saying, he's 21. I believe Kimba was 20 or 21 coming out of college.
Yeah, I think so. Kimba was because Kimba came out as a junior.
I think he came out as a
yeah, Kimba.
No,
I think Kimba was there for a little while.
He was older. He wasn't an 18-year-old freshman. He was like a 19-year-old freshman. You know what I mean? Maybe even 20-year-old freshman. But either way, you look at Kimba at 21, and you're gonna see Mudiay. So we good. He still has time to develop, and by the time KP comes back, we should be hitting our stride, and then we have another year with him to make a decision. So
and you heard Scott Perry say that he wants to, his job right now while KP is rehabbing and getting stronger is to make the team better. So I think
come back better.
I think, like somebody said earlier, what I like what Scott Perry did is he set himself a price tag for his players, whether it was overpriced or not. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not going lower. First round pick or we keep him.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? And he said, this is what we want for him. If we're not going to get him, then we'll move on. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of respect that. I like that because, if you get a reputation of always negotiating down, then that's how teams start to fleece you, right? Because you're negotiating down. If you set the precedent and say, if I'm going to trade Courtney Lee, I want a first-round draft pick. You got to add a first-round draft pick. And then you don't trade them. What this does is it sets you up in the future.
For next year.
Exactly.
Yep, for next year.
So now, when you say to people, this is what I want, they're going to say, okay, he's serious.
Yeah, we can't talk him down.
Yeah, we can't talk him down. He's serious. Let's see, let's try to get that for him. But when you start letting people talk you down, now they start to say, well, we can talk him down. But I think so. I like that, and he's patient. He's doing things. I like it. I like the way it's going. You know what I'm saying?
One more quick point, and you could click me off. There's also no reason to get rid of Trey Burke. Mudiay does the same things as Trey Burke as far as getting to the basket, opening up the lane, and can make the assists. That I just say he just falls down the third string. And honestly, the way Jeff is talking, you gotta earn your minutes. So if Frank ain't doing it, then he'll be third string.
Right. So, I think with Trey Burke, because I've been trying to watch him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like really, of course I'm watching him. I'm trying to really pay attention to what he's doing on the floor. And what I've seen people say about him defensively, I mean, he's trying hard, but I still see some holes defensively. Part of it is because of his size. Exactly.
Yeah,
part of it is because of his size. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what hurts him right now with playing consistently. You know what I'm saying? Because of his size. You know what I mean? And it hurts him defensively because even he can be there, right there on a player, playing good defense right there with him, but he's so small, they either can shoot over him or they can still get to the basket because they can just bull him out the way. You know what I'm saying? So it hurts him. You know, it hurts him.
I will say though, he the best shooting point guard, shooter as a point guard on our team, and
that's true. That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
That boy can shoot.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah,
but shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time.
All right, bro.
Keep doing your thing, my brother.
For sure, man. Peace out, man. Have a good night. Be easy.
You too.
Oh. I see Emmanuel say a couple times, said we kind of caught up in the moment. You know what I'm saying? When talking about Luke Kornet. I feel what you're saying, Emmanuel. I know what you're saying. And that one caller that I forgot his name, Joshua, was talking about how we we kind of, a player comes in, does well, and then we kind of get caught up in that player. I agree. We do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I do like what I saw from Luke, but I'm also at the same time saying, let's see, we need to see some more. You know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of people can come on and have a good night when nobody has seen you before, right? Nobody's seen you. Nobody knows what you do. You can come in and have a good night. So we'll see what happens when people know what he's about and know who he is and know what he does. Then we'll see what he can do. You know what I'm saying? But I do like what I saw. I like the way he's able to gravitate to the right spots on the floor. From what I've seen tonight, he knows where to be and when to be there. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see. I really did like what I seen from him. I'm not saying that he's going to be, a superstar or anything like that. But I think he has the ability to maybe be a rotation player. And I do think he's like a Novak, though. I really do, from what I've seen. A little bit more athletic. Of course, he's younger. A little bit more athletic than Novak. Can do more things than Novak. Novak, didn't play. I mean, the kid had 4 blocks tonight. You know what I'm saying? Novak didn't play no defense. I want to give a quick shout out to Marty Knicks. Gave me a super chat. And at the time, he said 246 people watching. That's a record. Yeah, that's 246 people at one time. Over time, it's probably a little bit. It's probably more than that. Maybe over time, when the stream ends, it'll probably be at maybe 400 or 500 people have logged on or something like that. But shout out to Marty. We actually got up to like 280 something at one time. So yeah, that's definitely a record. And Siobhan, I want to give a shout out to Siobhan. She says, every coach in the NBA needs to pay D'Antoni a fee. You were right, because D'Antoni, the system that all these teams are playing today, the way the floor is spread, pick and roll with a spread floor, Mike D'Antoni did that. You know what I'm saying? And Siobhan, I want to, you had gave me a super chat the other night, and I missed it. So I want to give you a shout out for that too. Thank you. I hope you're still on, and I didn't miss you. You know what I'm saying? But if I did miss you, then I'll make sure that I shout you out again on the next chat. All right, I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. But so here we are. We got a lot going on with this team. A lot went on in the NBA today. A lot of trades. You know, we seen Cleveland. You know, Cleveland like reinvented their roster today. Crazy trades for Cleveland today. I seen the first trade, and I said, okay, they traded with the Lakers, and then they had trades with Utah and whoever else they traded with, Miami. I was like, man, I mean, now my question though is, can they put it all together? And I know this isn't a Cleveland show, but they did a lot. So, we kind of got to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only going to spend a minute on there on the Cavs, but they did a lot today. They did a lot. And I think that they did make their team better. BN, you said you like the Cavs moves. I definitely think they made their team better. They got a point guard that they needed, because Isaiah Thomas and Derrick Rose obviously wasn't getting it. They got some athletes on the floor. They probably made themselves better. You know what I mean? They probably, but can they put it together in enough time to seriously come out of the East, or seriously be a contender to come out of the East? Emmanuel, you say LeBron is a spoiled child. I agree with you with that too. I don't like LeBron, man. I'm not a LeBron fan at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a LeBron fan at all. But somehow he's got the NBA in a ringer though. Got him in a ringer. Nick D, you say Cleveland made their team much younger, giving LeBron more thoughts on staying. Yeah, he did. They did. They made their team younger, more athletic, but they also helped the Lakers open up mad money. Mad money. You know what I'm saying? Like they opened up a lot of money, which they could in turn use to sign LeBron. So Cleveland could have, I don't know, they talked to LeBron, so I'm not sure they would have done those moves without knowing that LeBron will stay. But maybe they would have. They had to have known that the Lakers are a threat to sign LeBron, and then they just helped the Lakers open up possibly $69 million for free agency this year. That's crazy. Almost $69 million. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. But they find a way to do it. Yeah, they opened up $49 million, but they got some other things they can do where they could possibly have $69 million. That's where I was reading it somewhere. They could possibly have $69 million this summer. And Cleveland helped them open that up. But that's what happens when you got LeBron on a team, I guess. When you got LeBron on a team, that guy accumulated a lot of power throughout the NBA. I don't like LeBron James. I don't really like him as a person, basically. But he definitely accumulated some kind of power in the NBA. I'll give you that. He definitely did that. So, just a quick rundown of what they did, right? And then I'll be done. And I'm only looking at it, man, because I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's kind of impressive though. Right? The Cavaliers traded nearly half their team just before the trade deadline. So you got the Cavs traded Isaiah Thomas to the Lakers. The trade, Isaiah Thomas, Channing Frye, and their own 2018 first-round pick for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. Man, that's great right there. That's great. they gave up their own 2018 pick. They didn't give up the Brooklyn pick. They gave up their pick. Remember, they had 2 picks this year. They gave up their own pick, which is probably going to be a late first round pick. And they took back Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. It's not bad, right? You got another scoring guard, and you got a power forward, that can, I'm not going to say he's going to take the place of Kevin Love. He's going to bring some different aspects to the game, but he can help you out there while Kevin Love is healing. Then the Cavs trade for Rodney Hood and George Hill. So now you get you get your point guard, and then you get another guy who can score, right? And then you gave up guys that couldn't score, right? You gave up Rose, who was giving you basically nothing. Jay Crowder. You gave up Iman Shumpert, couldn't score. You know what I'm saying? That's a decent move. And then they traded Dwayne Wade for a protected second-round pick, heavily protected second-round pick. So they made some decent moves. You know what I'm saying? Made some decent moves, and I'm interested to see how they put it together. Armando Chico, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. You say, shout out to the show. Do I think Trey Burke would make a good 2-guard? Well, I think Trey Burke can only play 2-guard. He can only play 2-guard if he's in the lineup. He's got to be in the lineup with a tall point guard like Frank or Mudiay, right? So that he can still match up on a smaller point guard, and that taller point guard can match up on the other team's shooting guard. That's the only way, because he's only like 5'11". He's small. So it's hard for him to legitimately play shooting guard. He has to be matched up with somebody else that's tall and long. And that's the drawback. That's the drawback with Trey Burke, is his height. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely the drawback, is his height and his size. And of course, you get some guys in the NBA that they're such bulldogs. Some guys at that height, they're such bulldogs that it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? They're so strong. They can still play defense. Maybe they can jump high, whatever. But for the most part, your regular players at that size aren't going to last long in the league. There's been a few, but for the most part, they're not going to last that long, because point guards are getting longer and taller and stronger. Mudiay is 6'5". Frank is 6'5". Lonzo Ball, 6'5", 6'6". Point guards are, that's pretty soon, that's going to be the prototype size for a point guard. So that's what hurts Trey Burke right now. If Trey Burke was 6'3", he'd be real. He'd be tough. That'd be tough. Brian, you say Iverson was the same height and weight as Burke. You're right, but that's what I mean. Iverson was a bulldog, though. You know what I'm saying? Trey Burke ain't the same kind of bulldog. That's what I'm saying. Guys at that size that lasted in the league, they were bulldogs. And Iverson was a bulldog on the defensive end, on the offensive end. He was just a bulldog. He was a monster. Trey Burke ain't that same kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? BN, you say 6'5" has always been the point guard proto. I don't know if it's always been, because, a few years back, guys were 6'1", 6'2". Not a few years back, but, back in the day, guys were a lot, they were a little bit shorter than that. Your prototype guy was probably 6'2" or something like that. And they've just been getting longer and longer and longer as time goes on. And I mean, of course, there's been guys that are, 6'5" at the point guard spot. I'm not saying that there haven't been, but you could, there were more guys in the league, a lot more guys in the league that were, you could get away with a guy being 6'2", 6'1", even 6 foot sometimes, but now it's like you really got to have your point guards really need to be that 6'6" guy, 6'4", 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", so they're getting longer. I think, like Nick D is saying, the guys were like 6'1", 6'3", and then now you're looking at guys you want them to be 6'4" to 6'6". The league is just getting longer. You know what I mean? Just getting longer. But as far as Trey Burke and AI, I mean, they might be the same height, but Trey Burke just ain't that kind of killer like Iverson was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was aggressive defensively. Iverson, listen, I stood face to face across from Iverson when I was in college, and he came to my college to practice, and stood right there, same height as me. I'm 5'10" and a half. We stood eye to eye. The only difference between me and him is that his arms were like, his fingertips were way down past his knees. Looked like an alien. That's how long I was like, geez, what's up with this dude? But he looked like E.T., his body. You know what I'm saying? Because he was, his arms, not his body. His arms looked like E.T. because he was so long. But size-wise, height-wise, I'm 5'10" and a half. We were looking across from each other, but because of his aggressiveness on the defensive end, you know what I'm saying, he could guard someone that was 6'5", 6'6", and bottle him up because he was so aggressive defensively. Trey Burke's not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of guy. Shamik Scheider, thank you. I appreciate the super chat, bro. I appreciate it for sure. Definitely. Well, New York Knicks fans, it's been an eventful day. I think we're probably going to have a few more things go on. I mean, of course, there won't be trades because the trade deadline is over. But there could be some waves, some things going on with players being waived. Possibly, it's possible. Maybe Brian. Nah, man, Iverson wasn't 6'1". I could tell you that. Like I said, I'm 5'10" and a half, and him and I were eye to eye right there. He might have played like he was 6'1" because his arms were so long, but he wasn't 6'1". I'm 5'10" and a half, and me and him were eye to eye. I can give him 5'11", but he definitely was a small guy. But there's still more things to watch for. Guys in the NBA is going to get waived. Usually happens after the trade deadline. I'm looking forward to see if the Knicks buy out Noah. Because if they buy out Noah, I think it's a smart thing to do. I know I've seen some people say to keep Noah on the roster and let him sit or whatever it is. I say buy him out if he's willing to accept the buyout. I say buy Noah out, open up that roster. I mean, you got to pay the money anyway. Buy him out. Maybe you save a few dollars if you can. Open up a roster spot. You kind of do him right where, you guys agree to a buyout. He can go join a playoff team before March 1st. You open up a roster spot so you can bring in a young guy, either from off of waivers or through the G League. Bring in a young guy that you could try out for the remainder of the year. I think that's the right thing to do for both parties. The right thing to do, the smart thing to do, buy it out. And then, look and see what happens over that waiver wire. And I seen someone ask earlier, can we pull in G League players from other teams? Yes, we can. Not the two-way players. The two-way players are signed to a team. But if they're just a regular player, then yes, you can sign them and you can call them up. Brian Williams would say, why do we still have Lance Thomas? I mean, right now we don't have threes. he's like our only 3 that's there. You know what I'm saying? I think that Jeff Hornacek likes Lance Thomas because, according to Jeff Hornacek, he likes his defense and his work ethic, and when he's on the floor, he plays hard to try to set a tone for other players. We all have our thoughts about Lance Thomas and his offensive skills and those type of things. But I think Lance Thomas is going to be here till at least the end of the season, and then maybe it's possible that he's gone. I don't know. We'll see. So I guess we'll see what happens with Thomas, but I think he'll be here. I don't think he gets waived. I don't think he gets waived or bought out or anything like that. Guys that I think are candidates to be waived, maybe Trey Burke and Jarrett Jack are candidates to be waived if there's going to be any players getting waived. If there's going to be any players getting waived, I think those would be the guys that are candidates to get waived, because now that's where the glut is, and then we fill those spots in with some young players. So I think that's the move. That's definitely the move. And what I'm going to start doing, guys, is at the next stream, I want to start looking at the draft. I think what I'm going to do is, from now until the draft is, just start reviewing each person. I'll start at the bottom of the draft and then just look at that player and maybe do 2 or 3 players at a time a night or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I want to start, looking at the draft. That's what we got to look forward to. Talk about how the possibility of guys fitting into the team, the possibility of even getting guys. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. If anyone wants to join me in that quest of scouting out guys, feel free. You can email me any ideas you have or anything like that, and let's start looking at what's gonna happen with our team coming up within the next 2 months. Because there's a lot of things that can happen within the next 2 months. Of course, not on the trade front. Well, not next 2 months, next 3 months, or whatever it is. Of course, not on the trade front, but as we start getting into the draft, we can do trades in the draft and all those type of things, man. So we still got a future, guys. We got some things we're looking forward to. We play the young guys. I think we'll be good. You know what I'm saying? We play the young guys, we'll be good, start developing the future, and then, look forward to the draft, see if we can get a nice draft pick, move up in the draft through trades, or we'll see what happens. Who knows what can happen? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. All right. So, guys, I'm out. I'm about to get up out of here. It's 12:18. I will see you all on, remember, Sunday is an early game. We play at 5 o'clock on Sunday. All right, it's an early game. I'll definitely be on after the game. All right. Take it easy. Stay peaceful. If you like this stream, please subscribe below. Ring the bell. You'll get a notification anytime that I'm live. We come on live, do a live chat after every single Knicks game. So I hope I see you in the next chat. Check out these videos over here. Keep you updated on the New York Knicks and everything that's happening with our team. Peace.